Yeah. So anyway, this has been an interesting week for all kinds of reasons. This was been an interesting week.
Should we clap again? What happened here?
No, we're going with it.
No, this shows the time that we record this at.
That's right.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make a difference anyway, really, let's be honest.
Yeah.
People probably seen the three of us together again and went, I'm not watching another one of
Yeah,
these.
yeah, exactly.
This start makes sense for
It's
them.
the same people. Let's just move on.
Not
Yeah.
these guys again.
Yeah.
They
Why
have
is
mo-
this in my feed? Unsubscribe.
Jokers.
They have more words to say? I'm surprised.
Yeah.
No, I have way more words to say. I was just saying, I have the next 3 podcasts loosely mapped out in my mind.
Okay. We'll
My
see how they
mind
go.
palace.
Capital L and loosely.
Well, they always go different than I planned, but
Yeah.
they
I would
start.
suspect.
This isn't actually how I planned to start.
I know.
Anyway,
I'm happy about it.
so I have these, right?
Tattoos.
These
Oh, yes.
forward
Got it.
helixes.
That's what that's called?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know anything about piercings.
Well, you're going to learn a few new things today.
Okay. Bring it on.
I learned a few new things this week. Well, no, it's not necessarily true, but this isn't in anymore.
Oh,
Oh.
interesting.
Yeah.
No way.
That's not in
Did you
anymore.
notice it happening or it just happened?
So I noticed it happening. I want to say it was last Tuesday or Wednesday morning. I noticed there was a tear. It was a little tear. Mm-hmm. And I said to myself, fuck. Because
Hey, self. Fuck.
well, no, because I've had tears before. I know there's a difference between rejection and migration. So like migration is like what's happened with my bridges where they've thinned out a little bit over time. Mm-hmm. These are 10 and 15 years old.
Yeah.
So the skin is just naturally gets a little thinner here and there. But a tear is like an aggressive thing where all of a sudden the piercing starts to reject all at once. And the reason it happened, I think, is because of, and this is not an anti-statement of any kind, but I think it's because I've been wearing masks a lot.
Yeah, of course.
And my ears
ear
are
over and over again.
huge. And my ears always do this when I'm wearing a mask.
So it's
Yeah.
putting a little extra pressure on that small
Yep.
bridge of flesh.
And it was like, this one was bigger than the other one, so it caught more. Like this side was bigger than this side.
and maybe
So-
just a little bit closer to the top, like where your ear kind of connects to your head and goes
Yeah,
around that corner.
so-
It's a little bit higher.
It was bending, right? And it was creating this pressure point on the underside of it. And I don't know how long, like by the end of a day, my ears would be sore, but that's normal. So I just checked it out and there was a little tear there. So immediately I was like, okay, downsizing, like relieving pressure because I've been through these kinds of things before.
Yep.
So I went down 2 sizes because this is much smaller than it was.
Really?
Yeah. It was a
I
lot
didn't
bigger.
notice things.
Well,
gonna say that
there's
looks
too
bigger
much
today.
going on.
Yeah, there's also
There's too much
18
going on.
pieces of jewelry here.
Yeah. There's too much going on for anyone
How
to
close
notice.
was I? Was 18 on the nose?
No, there's more than that. Somewhere
on his
closer to
nose.
30-ish.
There's only one on his nose. Well, no, there's 2.
I used to have
Fridge.
6 in my nose, believe it or not.
Nice. I do
I
believe
do
that,
believe
yes.
it. Yeah,
Yes,
never.
that's not hard
nope,
to believe at all.
Would never think not that.
But yeah, it's hilarious. It's like how fast it happened, because if you had looked at a picture of my ear from a week and a half ago, it was completely normal. And
Was
it
it
just,
though? Was there still a bunch of piercings?
Well,
in it?
yeah. I mean, my ear's never going to be normal.
Grandma would
I
not
just get a
call this
flashback
normal.
real quick to that guy who was on the ear tattoos reacts. He was
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, you talk shit about people's ears. You got the ears of a young virgin." I was like,
Do
"What?"
I?
It's because my ears weren't tattooed.
The funniest thing is that they're stretched, so that would be the
Yeah, I know. They've had
antithesis of
everything
that.
done to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been
They've
beat
been
up,
through
man.
some shit.
Been through some wars.
They've
Got
got
all these bullet holes.
giant gaping hole. Now more than one tear. This
Yeah.
one was torn too. That's
Yeah.
how this little
We should go to a wind
notch.
tunnel sometime.
Just test his aerodynamics.
You
People
do
always
leave
ask
it in
if
a
they
wind tunnel.
whistle in the wind. Anyway, I'm not happy about it.
Yeah,
but,
I would not be either.
well, more because I put a lot of time into this. Because if I didn't, that would have happened much sooner.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of tissue in these to begin with. Like, you're working with a tiny amount of space when you're stretching something like that. And you could argue that I flew a little too close to the sun. But at the same time, I don't think if masks weren't a thing, this wouldn't have happened. So I'm very angry at masks right now.
That's
I'm
understandable.
saying I'm not going to wear them, obviously.
Oh, wow.
What if we made a mask you just carabiner to your ears through that piercing right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's not a bad idea.
Cinch it up through the back, but have it go flow
Well,
through all
you
the...
know those buttons that kind of like they're kind
Well-
of hook and loop, where the button goes in this way and then sits sideways that way?
Yeah.
You could have those that just slide through there, and then when you pull on them, they go flat.
It's not a
You're
bad
hooked
idea.
up. You're hooked up.
I mean,
Here's what I want to say real quick, and I'm not trying to be political. This is in the name of comedy. I want it on the record. This is the name of comedy. But if you were to write an obituary of this
Yeah.
this piercing, it would be a COVID death.
Yeah, it would be death by mask.
Yeah, it's a COVID related death.
Yeah, that's funny.
right. Comorbidities.
Yeah, you had one comorbidity, which was stretched.
It was stretched, and I wore a mask.
That's funny.
Back in the pandemic of 2019 to 2037, I lost a piercing right here.
Well, I wouldn't care so much.
Fallen
I
soldier.
actually don't mind the look of it, like the tear.
I think it's cool as fuck.
I don't mind it at all,
Mm-hmm.
but I have scars anyway all over the place. It's just one more for me.
But I feel like every time you crash like a mountain bike or anything where you're wearing a helmet, it's just gonna fall out and you're gonna lose that piercing.
Oh, I'm not gonna wear it in here.
Yeah.
This is just for the joke, and I'm gonna do a vlog about it today, and then
Nice.
I'm gonna retire it.
We could tattoo a little black line around the hole.
What's
so it
funny
looks-
is how much
Oh,
like
that's actually
I
good.
could just leave it in, like it's never coming
That's what
out.
I'm saying is it looks like it's there
Yeah.
until something like rubs it.
Yeah. So, and from the side, it looks really, really ghetto.
Yeah, that's sweet.
But
Okay, so I'm riddled with questions.
sure.
So tear is a very violent sounding thing. What was the experience of... 'cause,
There's no pain.
Is there any blood?
No blood. No.
So what the hell is happening?
Does it stretch inside first? Does the inside stuff come disconnected first so the outside of the skin isn't actually torn, but you
Well,
can see the flesh getting thinner and thinner?
the inside did stretch.
Yeah.
But the outside stretches in some proportion too.
Right.
And so then what happens is the outside thins out.
Mm-hmm.
And normally,
Okay, so outside thins out.
yeah.
What?
Okay, so
Because that's
say
not like a thing.
okay. So like
The outside of my arm just thinned out and fell off. Like,
let
what are
me
we talking about
explain.
here?
So like you see how this piercing has bowed out a little bit?
Sure.
It's easier for a piercing to bow out than it is to go in, especially when you're approaching hard surface like cartilage.
Okay.
So like it's easier for the skin to give this way than
Yeah.
this way.
Okay.
So because this is way tougher than this.
Yeah, fair.
So what you're doing when you're stretching something in a healthy way is you're getting that proportion to stay even, so that you're not
okay.
just stretching out. Because if you're just stretching that outer skin, eventually that skin's gonna snap, right? You're gonna
And
run
it's
out.
the question of what is happening to the thinnest part, like that weakest link in the chain. What is happening to that skin? How is it tearing? How is there not just skin being ripped open? It
Well, I
seems like
would
it's kind of healing as fast as it's
Well, the
stretching.
body is healing in its way. It's getting rid of something that's obstructing its healing.
Right.
And if it's
So, just like I'm trying to think of what's happening internally. So blood must be not going to the area. Mm-hmm. So therefore, it's not regenerating in the same way.
Yeah.
Right. So
Or maybe it's regenerating, but now it's regenerating with priority to go regenerating this way, right?
well, yeah, that's what I'm meaning.
those-
Like
if
it's giving
those
priority
cells
to
are
those.
reproducing this way.
Yeah.
Then these ones are just continuing to slough off that weakest point
it
until
keeps getting thinner and thinner. Like you should have seen it from Sunday till this morning, because it didn't finally happen until this morning.
Oh wow.
Oh.
But there was like this tiny flap of skin that was just still holding on.
Just a
Really?
thread
But here's the
size.
thing, like, because Sarah was like, "Well, you could take it out." I'm like, there's no sense taking it out now. Once it
not
gets
gonna-
to a point like where you have a tear like that, that skin is done.
Yeah,
whether
it's
you
not gonna
take it out
suddenly
or
get
not.
thick and healthy again.
No, it's not going to thicken up. It's gonna wither away and fall off. So when you get to that point, it's over.
Okay. New theory of a trend that will happen within the next 20 years.
Okay.
Piercings that have been overstretched to create tears along the ear. So the tear is the piercing.
Well, I'm picturing guys like Jeremy just taking all their piercings out one day and then
Yeah.
just taking scissors going tick, tick,
I don't think you need to. I think it'll just happen.
Well, what happens
keep
with this
oversizing.
is it looks a little like this in the end.
Yeah, which to be honest looks cool.
of course it does.
So
yeah.
like if you had just an ear of that,
Because it happens with my
pretty
nose
cool.
too, but obviously the hole is smaller here, so you
Right,
can see there's a
right.
little notch there.
yeah.
Right, but it's just annoying to me because I put a lot of time into doing it properly.
Yeah.
And I honestly I took it very slow. The mask just screwed me. I hadn't actually stretched that even in the last 2 months. I just put it the piece I was going to leave in for good. I was
So
just
you're
like,
filing a workers' comp claim?
something like that. I feel sometimes you get screwed by life in a way, like where there was almost nothing I
I
could
mean,
have
this
done.
is a fairly minor screwing.
Sure.
I got screwed by
So
life.
this would bother me more if it was my lip.
Understandable.
You know
If
what I
your lip
mean?
Fell
Like-
off? Yeah, gotcha.
Right. So like if I had a tear and my lip was like, oh fuck,
yeah.
Well,
now I'm
we're-
screwed.
While we're on the concept of piercings,
That's what I was thinking.
have
of.
you guys ever heard
Oh,
of
no, I wasn't thinking of
the
that.
most extreme kind of piercing? It actually happens in animals.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've seen this.
farmers who want to pimp out their cows will actually put a torso piercing into their cow.
Oh really?
Yeah, a piercing so big they can put their hand inside the cow's
That's
torso.
just ridiculous.
This is how you know you're the pimpest farmer in
Oh
town.
my goodness.
Okay, so there is a reason for this, and I can't remember what it is.
Well, it's kind of a keeping with the Joneses thing. Like if your neighbor farmer has 20 pierced cows, well, you want to have 21 pierced cows. It's really about keeping up like appearances in your small farmer community.
Okay, I feel like you're being sarcastic.
Yeah, probably
so
am.
they're checking their
It's all
stomach,
for science,
right?
Well, cows have a gnarly stomach system,
Look
right?
at the stopper on that thing.
Right, it plugs up again. They go. Gunk. So
like a big old
cows have 4 stomachs.
Yeah.
That they regurgitate and they chew their cud. And it goes back to a different stomach, and it's this whole process. So studying that it is pretty important to humans having a plan for the future as far as keeping beef going and knowing how enzymes and things work.
That's how they figured out that it's the seaweed thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of science exactly.
Gross.
Yep.
I would never stick my hand in that.
Dear audience,
I mean, I
Google,
would definitely stick my hand in that.
fistulated
But I would
cow.
need a good reason. So
like because it feels cool.
no, like
For
someone
science?
said, "Hey, I'll give you $10 if you do this." You know what I mean? Like one of those kinds of things.
Not a good reason at
Well,
all.
so like, but I'm not
Hey,
that.
$10,
Hey man,
bro.
$10 for that? Yeah. You should see what I do for $10
I'll-
at work.
I'll give
Yeah, I
you.
was
I'll
gonna
give you
say.
$10 if you buy a
It's a
Porsche.
half hour of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
I gave up my life for a half hour of this for 10
Yeah,
bucks.
I'm good with that. You want to? Yeah, sure. I'll do the stupid thing. Here, give me the money. Yeah.
And
Hey,
not
you
to
want to
mention,
pay
can
me
I just
anything?
keep doing it?
Yeah, I'll just
Can I
keep
just
doing this. This is
tally
what I
this
do.
shit up?
What do you do for a living? I stick my hand in this cow.
Yeah. Every
This
time
guy
I do
just
it, I get
keeps
10
giving
bucks.
me $10.
You know how some people put that little
I do it
strip
100
in?
times a day.
They test the pool water. I do that with cows.
Yeah.
Put a little strip in there. Take a little sample of this. A little test of that.
If I just had to do that 100 times a day and get $10 per time, 100% I'd do that.
Yeah, you'd
It
be
seems ridiculous to just do it
walking
once for
in
10
here
bucks,
with-
but if I could tally that
you'd
shit,
be walking in here in a nice new suit.
oh my God,
and
yeah.
Just living it up.
Riding in my cow.
Dollar sign glasses.
It's like,
What the
I gotta
fuck?
pay for parking. Let me just stick my hand in this cow.
Is that you,
Oh,
Kevin?
there. It's filled with $10
I'm
bills.
making cow money,
They
bitch.
didn't say that stomachs and cows were cool because they made money.
Yeah, it's like a golden egg situation, but
like-
it's $10 bills.
Just fucking
Every time you stick your hand in there, a new $10 bill comes
gives
out.
his notice. I'm fucking done, son.
Turns
It's
out
over.
I got my retirement cow.
The beef and dairy industry is more important to the global economy than we thought.
Yeah, that's our printing press.
Yeah.
It's new.
This is a
industry.
$20 cow.
He's an entrepreneur.
Just wash this off and we'll go. Man, that would be a dream, though.
Oh my god.
So to get back to my original point, got a
This
little,
wasn't your original point.
somehow we strayed from that.
All right.
I mean, I can tell you how.
I wouldn't care so much about any of this. I would wear it out and be fine with it. But I've made my ear quite famous over the years, and so now it's one of those. I'm gonna have to choke that back on social media and show off the ear again, right? And it's gonna be one of them is gone now, and then that's where you're gonna get everyone coming out of the woodworks with their, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that, oh, you fucked it, oh, like
Good.
you know, and that part is good, but
I've
I
been looking
think this
for an
might be the
excuse. Yeah.
first post I ever limit comments to people following me on.
No, just do it. Why? Why does this hurt you?
Because it's
This is an ego thing.
It is
I
an
stretched
ego
my
thing.
ears right, damn it.
It is an ego
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I did because
I
I,
did all-
felt
I
like I
followed
did
all the
everything
rules.
right, and yet there's no right at the same time because I don't know anyone else with a stretched forward helix, so I am in uncharted waters.
Yeah, you're going, I'm the professional here.
Well,
These are the risks I take by experimenting with it.
that's exactly what I
know
want
what
to
you should
say,
do?
but without saying that,
You know what you should do on everybody that comments that? Just say, can you send me a photo of your stretched forward helix?
That's it. That's the only response.
Just
Copy, paste.
Copy and paste that shit with your email or with a new email called like jeremy'sear@gmail.com. And
Jeremy's forward helix issues at hotmail.com.
forward helix issues at Gmail, at Hotmail, at Outlook.
at Outlook.
At
But no,
Yahoo.
AOL. Dates me. But no, I honestly think that would be hilarious. Just okay, for sure. Send me some photos to see how to do it right.
Yeah.
Because I love it when people who have no idea about something are experts on that thing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, and anytime anything goes wrong, that's when those people come
Yeah.
out too, right?
Yeah.
Like it's you start hearing from, and that's the part of this that I'm like, I wasn't even dreading losing it so much, and this is the sad thing about the times and it's the way I'm living my life too is part of it. But the times we're living in is like,
Man,
oh,
can't
I'm gonna
even have
hear
a
from
pierced
every
ear anymore.
fucking asshole online about how I fucked my ear, right? And
yeah, but
that's
at least we know.
I know it's gonna happen.
Like, that's the thing that I think for a long time people were like, this internet stuff is so terrible because it's like, oh yeah, nobody's ever going to say this shit to you in real life.
No.
But now it's like, I feel like we have some experience with it. So it's like when we post things, like it's like when we did the first episode and we got that hilarious comment about how boring I am. And I
Yeah,
was
who
just
the
like,
fuck's this boring cunt?
Yeah, I was
That's
just
what
like,
they said.
I was looking forward to those things because I was like, I understand the internet and I know what the internet is. So I just, since
I feel
know
bad
it,
for people who come into contact with me and get like kind of like sideswiped. Do you know what I mean? Like when people will take shot at Sarah or something on one of my posts with her, I'm like,
oh, and then they're
that's
not expecting
nice.
it.
Well, I'm okay with them coming after me,
Yeah.
but like the people that I associate with get lumped in sometimes.
Yeah, or coming after your ear. You got a problem with
Like
that too.
I've had people who are like, well, I have yet to have a problem with that, but I'm going to.
Yeah. You're prepping for a fight.
They'll, oh, your son is ugly. I've had that comment.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, it's fucking, he's 12.
Oh man.
Or
Okay.
even when he was
No.
9.
Same
Oh, the
thing.
internet's so
Okay.
wild.
Send me a picture of your son.
beautiful son.
Send me a picture of your kid.
I didn't know your son was a model.
And I'll give you some feedback.
Seriously, people are fucking deranged.
Yeah, but that's like
Just
the
send
fun
it
of
to feedbackyourkidspictures@gmail.com.
I just keep coming up with new email addresses.
I would
Yeah,
recommend it,
exactly.
yes.
I have 30 or 40 that I respond
None of
with.
them are monitored,
And
but
none
they
of them
work.
exist.
No, they work. You'll start them up. People
Well,
can-
someone will.
None of them exist.
All of them can have auto responses, and it's just dick pics in return or some absurd thing.
You know what you should do is you should just say, like, you can Venmo me. Just like, if you want to support my ear fund. My ear's in a state of trauma. Thank you for your
Yeah.
wisdom. Just send me your money.
I've started up. For the name of that page, the GoFundMe.
Go fund ear.
GoFundier. Started up a GoFundier, and a GoFund my son's plastic surgery.
Well, unrelated
beautiful.
but
What a way to
related
raise-
to the ear.
Butt related?
I have more like body mod related stuff going on. The guy who was going to split my tongue, I made this deal with him like a year and a half ago.
Oh, this stuff makes me uncomfortable.
I put a $300 deposit in already.
Yeah.
It's going to cost $600. He'll be doing he'll be cutting the bottom of my tongue too,
Yeah.
where I have the suture, so
Yep.
it'll control. I should not have a lisp at the end of all of this. Is the main goal, but I also will have a nice new snake tongue. He
So wait,
messaged
he's the
me-
right guy to go to if you need to have like.
Yeah, he does that stuff too.
There's only one guy. He's the first guy in Canada that has his certificate. You're going to that guy, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's he just got it. He upgraded his shop to the way that they needed it to, and he's now the only approved guy for this in Canada.
But you're going to someone to legally split your tongue.
This is legal.
Holy
This
shit.
is the first time. This is like walking into a weed store.
Okay,
back
so
in
maybe I'm not
2019.
going to
no
that
kidding.
guy.
I didn't know this was
Maybe I'm
happening.
not
Oh, you're
going
not?
to that.
Okay.
I'm going to a guy who's been a traveling body mod artist.
Oh,
Okay.
well, now all
That's
of a
what I
sudden
thought. This is the
changes.
last story I heard.
Because
But-
the dude in Calgary, the same shop that you're tattooing that girl out of, or she's from.
Do they do it in Tribal
Yeah,
Expression now?
that guy just got approved.
Really?
Yeah, they just changed the
Wow.
shop. Like
I would-
Ali was telling me now,
I
he's
wouldn't
like,
go
Oh,
that
I'm
guy.
going to look at that.
I'd be careful with that.
Why?
But that said, she does the.
No, not her.
Yeah, but she does. Their shop in general, like the tattoo quality.
I've
isn't
been to
top-notch.
Tribal
It's
Expression.
not.
They-
no, Tribal Expression for. Well,
They did
I don't know if
my
we should be saying it, but-
I
downstairs
guess, yeah, they
piercing.
pierce heart. Pierce heart.
The piercing, like that's who. If you're wanting to do extreme piercing in Canada,
Yeah.
that's who you'd go to.
They're
Okay,
one of the
cool.
best.
So yeah, if I've cast shout on Tribal Expressions, I don't know them piercing, whatever.
Tribal Expressions, but yeah.
Tribal Expressions.
Yeah,
What I
there
say.
Did you
He's
say
a terrible
terrible expression?
Oh my god. Good
It's even
morning.
better.
Jesus, that's on the nose.
Well,
What do? They do bad piercings and terrible tattoos.
I have no ill will toward Tribal Expressions.
Yeah.
Y'all
cool.
a bunch of fucking dicks.
I didn't know they were epic.
I'm
And that's
just
just the
fucking with you.
scarification. So I mean, that shop is
Yeah.
already like pushing the threshold.
Yeah, they're in the
Back in
extreme laws.
2011, they did two below the belt piercings on me.
Oh, fair.
So
Huh.
yeah.
They're the like because that was the thing. Like we were, if there was things that we wouldn't do here, that's the only place we would send them to.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like anywhere else, just they have the volume of experience. They do all of that stuff. and
I
it's
did
just like-
not know that they were splitting tongues there now.
I don't. Okay, so don't quote me on it.
well, it's
because this is all stuff I've
whenever
heard
whenever you
secondhand.
hear about someone doing that, it's always like someone's whispering it to you in
Yeah.
a dark alley or something like, "This is where you can go to get your tongue split," and it's like, don't tell anyone.
Well, yeah, because it's super illegal.
I
in
know.
most places.
Yeah, but that's why you have these guys doing it under cloak and dagger, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like they don't want to get caught, and that's leading into the story I was about to tell about tongue split potential. I got a message from him last week. He's like going on tour again. He's in Calgary on the 19th,
Cool.
but I'm trying to get more information, and I understand that it's almost impossible to give me more information because he probably is always worried that people are going to like whistleblow him.
He's always in sketch alert.
Right. So
I don't know though. Like that avenue of person, anyone who knows about that stuff, like, really, are they? Is that
you
the
know
person
what?
you're
I think
concerned
he's
about?
probably covering his bases.
Because eventually, someone will be looking for him.
Yeah, but like here's the thing that I always find interesting about those things. Like the people who do scarification and tongue splitting and stuff like that, and it's like they show up at conventions that advertise their faces on these things. Like these are
Oh yeah,
guys
he's
that
not
are like
he's not hiding from it, but he
No.
nowhere on his page or any of his pages, I should say, does he specifically say that he does these things.
Yeah, of course.
He even shows them.
Yeah.
But he doesn't say,
that's
"Oh,
the thing. It's
I
like
did
I
this."
don't offer this, but it's like, hey, look at this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so gray market.
Yeah.
It's
not-
so
not-
funny to me though.
It's not like out there somewhere there's a thing where it's like splitting tongues, doing that illegally is going to get you 8 to 10 years in prison.
No, it's
it's
just-
it's like somewhere
They'll
there's
get
a
you
rule.
fine, I'm sure.
Somewhere there's a rule where doing a surgical procedure to this level without having this kind of approval and this kind of medical shop, whatever, results in this kind of municipal.
Well, it's the problem with tattooing being considered estheticians.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we are in the aesthetics realm and we're considered in the same realm as hair or nails. It's like, no, ours is way more invasive than that.
Yeah.
Like, and we know it and we treat it as such. So it's like you almost should have your own category because it's not a surgery.
No.
Even though we could technically do cosmetic tattooing and cosmetic surgery and scar cover up and all the things that you would consider to be cosmetic surgery, but it's not at the
Super
same
not.
time. So it's like it kind of needs its own classification, and then you could have things like that folded in, and then they can have procedures and all the then it could be normalized. But right now it's just like those things are considered surgeries, and no plastic surgeon's going to do them. And not to mention
Not
if they
in
are,
Canada.
yeah.
There are like other parts of the world where, yeah, sure, you want your tongue split? Fine by me. Like, and it's cheap too. Like, people will do all kinds of things. Like, lots of people go to Mexico to get like custom teeth made and stuff. Like, if you want a set of like vampire fangs or something, dentist's just like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, they don't have the problem that we have here so much. They're just like, do you have the money?
Yeah.
I don't care why you want it.
Yeah.
Here you go.
That's your choice. Whatever. Here you
Yeah,
go.
exactly. We are very weird about controlling what people do. Like we have this thing where we don't want people to be able to express themselves a certain way in North America.
Well, so I think the gray area that we have to figure out is when it's an individual and when it affects a community.
Yeah.
So a lot of the decisions that end up happening are to limit the community involvement. So it's like, they have these things restricted because it's like, well, they want to be practiced safely, safe practice things, blah, 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 blah. So it's like they'll limit the business side of it, which limits the individual side of it.
Yeah.
My hope is that they move forward in terms of making it so the business side of it is more...
I'm so pro-individual.
Well, yeah, but that
I'm
would
so
allow more.
pro-individual.
That would allow more individual choice, right? Like that's I was going
So
to drift it back to psychedelics, but it's the same shit. Like just make it so there's an option, and then you can have an individual choice rather than limiting the community engagement because there's no business structure.
So speaking of business, I've been reading more about business and starting successful businesses. So either relies on being more efficient in an industry where someone's already paved the way, or finding a new aspect of an industry to pursue. So suppose I wanted to make a big business within the industry of tattooing. Lots of people already have. There's brands that make power supplies and tattoo machines and inks and cartridges. There are already big business names that have come in and revolutionized how tattooing works.
Yep.
So what is one aspect of the industry that hasn't been touched yet? The safety. It would be very interesting to start a regulatory body where now I've hired professionals and we go inspect tattoo shops. We go and approve places for
Talked a
tongue splitting.
little about regulating tattoos. I think it was last week. Was it?
There's a couple places that are trying that. Like, they're straight, mostly in the states, and they're mostly state regulated.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that sounds how it have to be here. You still have to be,
because
like,
it kind of is.
you have to
AHS is ours.
but they're useless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
They don't
I'd
really
like
know
to
the
see
ins
Not
and
within our
outs.
industry,
I'd
right?
like to see it done much better. I'd like to
BC
see it be
one's
done by
great.
professionals.
I was
Yeah.
surprised at how well versed they were.
So I'd be very curious to do some research into that, and because all we'd have to do is just take off a little bit. When all of a sudden, you know how like you can pay Better Business Bureau to have a Better Business Bureau sign in your window, and that means that there is somewhere for clients to
Issue a complaint.
issue a complaint about your services, and now don't be wrong, I'm not using Better Business Bureau is a good example because they're a little bit useless.
Yeah,
But
it's weird.
but there's a purpose, and there's a regulatory body here who does investigate things, does have employees that research businesses, where you could almost have that where tattoo shops pay you for an annual inspection. You come in, you check it out, you're a professional in that industry, and
Like
it's like an industry specific.
and it's chosen by the industry as like a badge of honor kind of thing. Like, hey,
That's
check out our
exactly
shop.
it.
We're already like that's kind of like
and
when
then
we did what is that?
APP?
Yeah, the APP.
Yeah.
And-
associates.
It
And
does
then
give you a
eventually-
bump.
And then eventually, shops that have this don't need AHS because they've already adhered to a higher level,
Yeah,
right?
higher standard.
You could go get an exception with AHS, where shops that have yours don't need AHS.
Here's
because
the
yours
problem,
is better.
Or have AHS communicate through that governing body.
So like that will
Precisely.
mean something to someone, but not everyone,
No,
right? So like, since you brought up the APP, Joe Blow that wants his nose pierced doesn't give a fuck who does it.
no, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like, oh sure, she's gonna stick this thing through my nose. I could probably do it myself with a pin.
Yep.
You know what I
And
mean?
people
Like
do.
exactly. Like so, those kinds of things will mean something to some person, but those might be the people you want though. Like
Yeah, that
you
is.
want to exactly you
Yeah.
want a higher class clientele anyway. So when you put something like that up there, it may make people roll their eyes at you. And those might be the people you hope to lose anyway, right?
and,
like,
and your goal in the end is more that you're going to actually replace the provincial, like, public sector inspectors, and those shops in your entire province will be required to have your certification, and then suddenly you have a body that is able to raise the standards of all tattoo shops, right? Because right now, there are lots of tattoo shops doing a bunch of sketchy shit. An AHS person walks in, they're like, "Oh, are your inks expired?" Meanwhile, that's the least dangerous thing they can be looking for.
That's true.
Right? There are so many practice-based skills or practices, practice-based practices as well, that affect the safety of the tattoo procedure so much more than
You
what
know very well.
Exactly than what our inspectors are looking for.
Yeah. So
Well, that's where it's the interesting thing of like they're governing a certain thing, whereas the tattoo world is kind of self-governed in all the other areas.
well, I would look at this place as like, this place here is what you can do from within the shop to make it better, right? Because like this is way better than what it was when I started going to shops. But like it does feel like you almost need a third party to like bring everyone up.
Yeah.
and to investigate new things.
You're right.
Yeah.
And
Like
keep
investigating new
apprised
things
to
is a
new
good
things
thing.
that are on the
Yeah.
horizon,
Yeah,
right?
like
and
that-
then feed
because,
those
like,
ideas.
Tattooers should be focused on tattooing,
Yeah.
but there should be something else that's like kind of looking into the rest of it.
Well, that's what I like about. So, a lot of shops back in the day, and a lot of shops still don't have a central figure like a manager or a shop girl or whatever
Yeah.
to keep it all together, and they just kind of roughhouse, and
Yeah.
the place falls apart,
Yes.
and no one greets you, and, and no one knows when their appointment is, and
Yep, all
like
that.
all that shit because. You got guys like Rick that come in and they just want to fucking do the tattoo and leave.
That's right.
So you don't want that guy owning the business, or maybe he can own it, but you don't want him running it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you want him doing his art, and that's
You don't
it.
want a collection of that perspective.
No,
running the
Imagine
entire
five
business.
Ricks in here, and there's no Kevin.
Yeah.
There's no Scott. There's no anyone else. Just imagine, because this is what it was like. Imagine 3 or 4 Ricks, and that's what you have. They're not all there at the same time, maybe. But like that's not customer service.
But when is the when is the bathroom
But that's
getting
also-
cleaned? Who's calling?
Yeah.
That's not a business.
no,
You know what I mean? Like that's the difference between running something like a business and running something that's like, well, I do a portion of this business and I need a place for that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like the other
yeah, I
sides
just need a place to do this.
yeah, I need a place to do this, and they call that owning a business. It's like, well, okay, but that's not what you want.
Well,
if you're like a
Here's the separation. Kevin works for Rocky Mountain Tattoo. I work at
No,
Rocky
no,
Mountain
I know the
Tattoo,
difference.
You know?
You're like
It's-
it's almost like a contractor.
I am a contractor.
Yeah,
I
like
I run a sole proprietorship within Rocky Mountain Tattoo.
yeah.
yeah, no, I get the difference, but that's what I'm saying.
That's- well,
if
that's
you
right,
just
and-
had 4 guys working at Rocky Mountain Tattoo.
That's right.
Then all of a sudden there's less invested in what Rocky Mountain Tattoo is.
Yeah, I do get that from like when people come in and they're like, it's weird to them, A, that we're open, B, that we have a phone that works,
Yeah.
C, that they get an email back within a day or two. It's just like the bare minimums of professionalism that just don't exist at places that have no front end. It's one of those like, because I've had many people be like, yeah, I don't know, I keep calling over there and like nobody picks up.
They don't
It's
want
like,
to hear
yeah,
from you.
because nobody is going to pick up.
Well, and they probably already got enough regulars, so they don't want any more.
That's exactly
Well,
it.
and that's not the like the funny thing is like having a phone where that's not the avenue of booking is crazy.
Yeah.
Because none of like all those places
Why
are like,
do you
oh
have
no, you
it?
got to talk to the guy. Go message him on whatever. He's got his own way of doing things. But it's like, then why do you have a phone?
Yep.
It's
Yep.
just gonna ring. You don't even have an answering machine. This
Yeah.
is wild.
Pretty bizarre.
You could have an answering machine saying, "Hey, go online."
Yeah.
Can you
And that
imagine
would be
doing
better.
any other thing like that?
Oh no, it would be nuts.
Like, I want to buy some shoes. Maybe the guy's there. Maybe
Yeah,
he's not.
exactly.
Like, I called them. They didn't answer. I have to go talk to this in-between guy to get connected to the shoe
what
salesman.
are their hours? They don't have any.
They'll be there when they get
Yeah.
there.
Sometimes I drive by and the light's on, so that's when I stop.
Yeah. If I was going to run a tattoo shop with no front end guy, I would have like a pay-as-you-go cell phone with a Bluetooth headset for the front end. But that would have an answering machine that would send you.
I think he's describing how to replace Kevin.
Yeah, exactly. This is also going to sound a lot like a drug deal. I got a series of burner phones. They're in different spots around the city.
They're all
So, as someone texts that burner phone, there's going to be a runner. Now, yeah, I know. I can see exactly where you're going. It's just like, yeah. It's I got this. And
Sounds a little
that's how drug
sketchier than
businesses
you
are
need.
done.
Or everyone goes to voicemail, and it sends you.
No, that's nuts.
Well, if it doesn't get answered right away, because it's only on
I
vibrate.
don't like leaving voicemails.
No, it goes right to voicemail, and it tells you not to leave a message unless it's fucking
I'd
urgent
rather call
regarding your
9
appointment.
times than leave a voicemail.
And
I
it
know.
points you directly to the website where you can email that artist directly. And that would be like, I think, the smoothest way of
You're talking about all infrastructural things.
our shop guides you to here, where you can now talk to the artist. You can email the shop for general inquiry here, and the voicemail is only for if you're not making your appointment or some such nonsense, right?
Yeah, you're describing how everyone else does it. And
Yeah,
the Joe
I don't
average
think
public
they
hates
even.
it.
I don't think
Yeah.
they even set up the direction, though. I think they have those things, but aren't telling people
Yeah.
that that's
See,
how it
I
works.
think-
this is where like there's the difference between someone that should own a business and people that do other things that a business has to be required.
Yeah.
It's just like people don't think of that stuff.
I think
Like
that in the tattoo industry, you should just put it into your books. Like, I need a front person.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you should just put it into the bills.
Like I've just
almost like paying the utilities.
I've seen it where like I understand that there's lots of different ways of doing the tattoo world, and I see value in all sides of it. A lot of guys end up drifting towards that like I pay for a chair and I just fill my calendar and I make all my money.
Yeah.
And that's all well and good, but I don't want to deal if I'm just tattooing full time, I don't want to deal with any of the stuff that's going to exhaust my brain further. And I would put my I think forever I will put my stock in having someone else handle that.
Do you know how
even
hard
if I
it
had to
is?
do that like
well,
myself,
they'll be invested in doing it, where
Yeah.
you're going to be doing like it's an annoying chore that you can't wait to finish.
yeah.
Well,
And
You don't
not-
have your interactions with human beings feel that way.
Yeah. Well, like I always look at the guys that are like, they're big tattooers, and it'll be like, hey, if you were this guy and you have an appointment on Wednesday, can you message me? It's like, holy shit, man, that's wild. Like, that's just a wild way to live your life, where it's just like, hey, I have none of your info at all. I have some of your money,
Yeah.
and,
And-
I'm supposed to have more of it,
I'm
and I've
seeing
got
you
a
on
problem.
Wednesday.
So hopefully you see this thing that only 2% of my followers are going to see,
Yeah.
and you get in touch with me somehow. That would be
Fuck,
that would be
2%
swell.
is generous some days.
Because otherwise, I'm not going to be there, and you're going to be there, and you're going to be mad. Like, that's a crazy way to live your life.
Yep.
But I see so many people that are like, oh, you have 100,000 followers and you're huge, and that's the shit that you're doing. Where it's like, hey, 2 days from now,
Wow.
I'm really I've got an issue, and I have no way of finding
That's a
you.
And if
problem
that guy
again
does
with-
message and he doesn't find it in 12 hours, it's buried.
Yeah. The amount of incoming inbox thing
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
going to have anyways is like, good luck finding that at all. It's not like you gave them your cell phone.
Yeah.
But like, those are those things where I'm just like, that's like that even saying it is exhausting to me. Like, that's just
Yeah.
mentally
I
exhausting.
can tell.
Ugh.
You're working up a sweat.
Try tattooing all day.
And then doing that shit.
Even let's say a half an hour of emails, and half an hour of DMs, 20 minutes of posting shit, and then you got to sit down and draw for the next day.
Yeah, see, I'd do none of that.
Now
would
every
do none of
day
that.
is a 12-hour day.
I would do none of that. Why would you ever do that?
Congratulations.
That seems insane.
Mm-hmm.
That seems absolutely insane to me. And it makes me, that would be one of those things where after a while, it would make me not want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
It would just be constant pressure. And then you can get to the place where it's like, okay, fiscally, I kind of have to stay doing this. And then I just hate it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do this to hate it. Like, I've done enough jobs where I hate them. So it's like, I'm going to, if I'm doing it full time, I'm doing it in a way that is going to make it so I like doing it.
I think-
for the longest that I can.
The best that I've seen is a little like what's happened here, but I've seen it in lots of shops where you hold on to the front person for long enough that they become something else too, and then eventually they just do that. And when that happens, you bring another front person in, and you just kind of keep it in the family, and you keep working people through. And, then if you end up in a place where you have 2 or 3 shops, it's like everyone kind of knows each other, and you've
Yeah.
worked with this guy when you were here, or you did this, and like you just keep building and building, and
Yeah.
that's how these empires grow.
Yeah.
Right. But it's better to do like promote from within. Like if you're gonna bring in an apprentice, and you have someone at the front that's already wanting to do that, and you know them already and know how to work with them, it's probably easier to do that with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
No
and you already
kidding.
don't hate them.
Yeah.
That's the big
That's
one.
like a huge thing.
So I think that you should look at each person that you bring in as a potential, like,
Yeah.
this person could do a lot more for me one day.
Well, and to be fair, if you have a front person that knows nothing about tattoos, that's gonna kneecap you.
Yeah.
So it's one of
Yes,
those.
that's already bad.
Yeah, if they're not passionate about the industry, it's like.
Oh, I've been
well,
in
then
sales for 35 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you work at Canadian Tire though, and you
Yeah.
don't even like tattoos.
I stock shelves.
But I can sell them. I can sell you on anything
Yeah.
you want. Just
Yeah,
give me
of course.
just give me the chance.
Yeah, that's like I don't know. That's those wild things of like. I would never want to be, but my whole outlook on all that stuff is very different. A job for a job's sake is just not in my cards, ever. Like just not would not make my brain happy.
I had one of those one time.
How was it?
Which one?
It was all right. Superstore was a job for job's sake.
I did that.
Yeah,
I was a price checker.
yeah.
I was on rollerblades.
But it was a good job. I had a great time.
Yeah, I had fun too.
So before I lose it, I had more on that tongue split
Okay.
Oh,
because there was that story is ongoing because I still don't know what the hell's going on. I messaged him twice because email. He wanted me to email him back. He messaged me on Instagram, directly messaged me. I'm going on tour again.
yeah.
Right? Just you have to email this guy because he doesn't do anything in DMs.
Yeah, good.
Fucking, I hate shifty go-betweens. I really do. I just wish people could just be, this is it.
Yeah.
But I understand why he can't. Anyway, so I email him. I've emailed him twice now because I don't want to get lost in the shuffle. And I still haven't heard back from him. And I'm thinking he's probably going to message me like the day of,
Yeah, most likely.
right?
You just got to go.
I'm here. And the thing is I'm off that day anyway because I have like 4 days off coming up. Not because I booked them, but because the restaurant's going to be getting renovated, the kitchen. And they asked me if I wanted to help with the renovations. And I was like, you know what? I haven't taken time off in a year and a half. I'll have a few days off. So then I check, and he's in Calgary on the 19th. And I'm like, well, fuck, that's the first day off for me. Like,
So you're saying the
perfect.
stars are aligning
the stars are pretty well aligned.
to de-align your
So
tongue.
you almost have to send him another message and say something along the lines of,
I'll be there.
hey, I have that day off. Let me know a little bit ahead of time when I should be leaving town or some crap like that. So he knows you're serious and you're in, and then hopefully you'll get a message, hey, be
Well,
in
it's-
Calgary at 4.
Yes, it's an aesthetic thing, but it's also like I could get this part done by a
You're going to
doctor.
drive home like this.
I could get the part where they cut the tongue tie done at a doctor's office. It's still going to cost me around the same amount of money. I looked it up. It's about the same price that he's paying.
It
offering.
costs money
Yeah.
for them to do the lisp thing.
Well,
Yeah.
I have a tongue tie.
That's an aesthetic. Like it's not.
Well, apparently,
What the? Nah.
it's going to affect. Like, I'm going to have to relearn how to talk.
For sure. It's cosmetic.
But also, apparently, it affects the way you taste things too.
Your tongue split? Yeah, of course.
Well, not just the tongue split, but the tongue tie.
Really?
Like, because your tongue can't. Like, you can taste things differently because your tongue can move around food
Oh,
like
okay,
better.
different parts of the tongue.
Well, I've been used to talking with an abnormality.
Yeah.
Right? And people always think it's because of the
Piercings.
labrae.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with that. If I took this out, I still have a lisp. It's because I've learned to talk around a tongue that doesn't move properly.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't talk or form more. It also affects your facial function, apparently, because you get used to working around
You're
this
you're
obstacle.
focusing on these muscles, not these
Yes,
muscles.
exactly. Your brain develops around working around an obstacle.
It's already focused.
Your tongue is supposed to be moving more fluently than mine can. So I've done this my whole life, and I asked my mom, why didn't you get this cut when I was young? Because they do it on babies. I guess she must not have noticed or something. But yeah, my tongue is like, I can't stick it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it for me. There's this giant tether at the bottom of my tongue.
Crazy.
It's quite large. And
So
so,
you're gonna be a lot of pain after this, aren't you?
probably, they don't recommend that I drive up alone.
Right. Right.
And Sarah works, and she's got a day off to get tattooed by you the next week. So
right.
I had to ask my mother.
Okay.
My mother does not want me to do this. I've talked to her
Okay.
about this before, and she's like,
I'm off. I'm off on the 19th.
"Are you?"
Yeah, if you want a road trip.
Well, I would love to.
I'm
but-
picturing you on the bus taking lidocaine drops in your mouth. Can't people feel like this?
Well, they'll inject him. For sure. Right?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't
really
really
hope so.
care
Do,
about.
do you want the underground tongue splitting guy
I-
injecting you with his big stainless
He's
steel
done a million of
autoclavable
these.
needle?
Like, I'm not really
well,
worried
they'll be
about.
disposable.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
He's done a
Dentist-
million of
The
these.
dentist uses autoclavable.
Yeah, but that's because they have an autoclave. You think a touring guy is gonna have? Oh, let me just set up
Thing-
my
Well,
autoclave.
he's
Things
a
to
body
look out
piercer.
for.
He
Yeah,
has he has a
exactly.
permanent residence and he's a body piercer,
Ah.
but he
So
doesn't
I would
do
say he
this
does an
stuff in
autoclave.
his
Right.
permanent residence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's a legit guy.
Yeah.
It's just you can't do this stuff necessarily legit, or at least it's very hard to. I get
Yeah.
you're telling me someone finally is.
If I understand it correctly.
But like he's legit. He's studied under people who do this. Like I've talked to you about Sampa von Cyborg, the Germans that do tongue splitting and ear pointing and all this stuff.
Yeah.
They're like pretty well the leading body mod people maybe in the world. Anyway, he's trained with those guys, so he's done a lot over the years. I'm not worried about his abilities. It's just getting him locked down it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's been a year and a half since I gave him a deposit.
Yeah.
I want this done already for all kinds of reasons. But my mom is like, I've been on board for you doing all this stuff. I've had a hard time understanding it. Please don't do this. And I'm like, look, I'm fucking doing it. Like whether I have to drive myself up there or not, I'm gonna do it. I don't care what happens.
Oh, if I drive him up there, his mom's gonna hate me.
Well, no,
Sounds like
she
you're going with Kevin.
Yeah.
she told me she would take me, but I still don't really want. I don't really want to go that route with it. And also, if I don't give her notice, like she'll have every excuse not to go. Because if he
Yeah.
just goes out of nowhere, I'll be here at this time, then you really gotta fucking
You
go.
kind of need a Kevin on Mish for that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I'm off. So
If you're serious,
yes,
I'll give you gas money. We'll go up.
Yeah, of
I,
course.
I feel like
Sounds
I
like a
think-
blast.
yeah, I feel like that's already an event where I'd be like, yeah, I'll take a day off to do that.
Yeah.
Just because I'm so curious to see what this situation. Like, can I go watch? Like,
Oh,
maybe
I'm not gonna watch.
I might be coming too. Like this.
Yeah.
You know?
We're gonna do a road trip.
Entourage.
Oh no, you're getting tattooed.
Oh, I am too. Yeah, I'm getting tattooed the next.
I will be so annoyed if I don't get it done this time because it couldn't have worked out better.
Yeah.
Especially since I already have time off to heal it. I'm not going back to work until the Friday that week. And if I do get this done, I might even take a few more days off
Yeah, I would.
because apparently it takes you 5-6 days before you can really speak. And, but you can kind of speak, but like it's not recommended to. And you're drinking shakes and,
Oh, this stuff makes me so uncomfortable.
it doesn't make
thinking
me
about the healing.
uncomfortable
I'm
because
just like,
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, getting it done, no big deal. The healing, that because that's why I'm saying lidocaine drops. Because eventually you're gonna be on the way home. You're gonna be passing through like Granum or some crap in the drive home, and like,
ow.
the freezing coming on there, and it really hurts. And it's
Yeah.
gonna feel like kind of like raw, open, tender
Well,
feeling.
I know a girl who did her own tongue split in her bathroom and sewed it up herself.
Like with scissors.
I don't know what she used.
Can we not talk about that?
I honestly don't know
we
what,
do.
but like I seen the picture, like the after pictures, and all I thought is like, God damn, like this woman's a badass.
Beast, yeah.
But you may have even seen her. She's got a pretty big profile, but she doesn't post anymore. Her name is
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Noovers, I think.
Yeah.
Like she's got a full body, like
Yeah.
floral theme.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, she did it herself. I would say more than a decade ago.
Something tells me eventually she goes to the blackout too.
I would imagine that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But because anytime you see someone with that amount of coverage and now they're doing blast overs and stuff, you got it bad, girl.
yeah.
You got it like I got it.
If you're doing blast overs and crap.
Well, I mean, if you were splitting your own tongue with some scissors in your bathroom,
Yeah, that girl's a
you're on
straight up
whole other
badass.
level, man.
Like
That's
no
the-
shit. Like
yeah,
That's the people tattooing their own face stuff.
that's still mild compared to that shit.
I know where it comes from. Like I did my own bridge piercing. I pierced my own ear 7 times.
Yeah, but people tattooing their own face are never doing a good tattoo.
No, God,
I saw
no.
on Instagram this dude's putting horns on his face like last week, and it's like he's got this really well produced reel, so I'm expecting it to be good, and then he's done. He's showing it off, and I'm like, those are awful. You definitely should have gone to a real tattoo artist
You ruined your face.
and just gotten this done
I would-
properly.
yeah.
You should have drawn this on paper first. This does not look good. What
A
have you
rule
done?
that I've kind of mapped onto my mind is anything that you're doing on yourself is probably not going to be as good as what someone else could do on you.
I have some pretty great self tattoos.
Sure. Are they on your legs?
Yes.
Thank you.
Nice.
Point
Leggy
made.
tattoos.
Yes.
I love leggy tattoos,
Yes.
but I don't want them on my face or on my
No,
throat
no.
or, you know.
I will say though, there's this one dude that has like a bunch of reels where he was like, he's a portrait artist and he's done all of his tattoos, like, and they're phenomenal, and they're like in weird spots.
Maybe he just is incapable of doing bad tattoos anymore, right?
Well, no, definitely, because he's
Yeah.
really, really good.
Yeah.
But like, you know, when you watch him like tattoo his under rib, and it's like a dope portrait, it's like, oh my god. That's,
Like, how are you stretching and wiping
Yeah.
and seeing?
That-
there's a whole
the
lot of things. He's
technicalities
super
of it.
skinny, so there's that probably helps a
Yeah,
little
he's
bit. but
probably already
Jesus.
like kind of pre-stretched, then,
Yeah.
right?
But still, it's like, oh my god, getting a good tattoo at those angles and stuff, and
Like
having
that-
it make sense.
I tattooed my forearm by using duct tape to stretch it.
The
Nice.
technical aspects of that are impressive.
Yeah.
But for the same reasons why I was saying about the guy tattooing his armpit,
Yeah.
I'm not being very impressed with it.
Yeah.
Was like the pain I find when I'm putting myself in pain, I find it really easy to control. When other people are doing it, I think what I lose is the control aspect, and that makes it hurt more for some reason. Because like I pierced myself, and I'm more worried about the angle.
Well, to be honest, the pain then makes the most sense. Like I have the same thing when I'm watching getting tattooed, because it's like you're seeing the thing and the pain makes
It
sense because
correlates.
the thing goes together. When you can't see it all of a sudden, or you're not in control of it, it's like there's a lot of questions going on.
Yep.
And I think that makes it good for some people and bad for some people.
One of my techniques that I do when I'm getting tattooed, and like Lee noticed it eventually because he was tattooing me for years. Rick's never commented on it if he does know, but when I'm actually feeling it, the only thing that I do different is like close my eyes. Like I can't look anymore. I just need to be somewhere else. I don't do that until I'm in severe pain.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
some days I don't do it ever. Like I haven't closed my eyes during a tattoo in months, maybe years. I don't even know. But like if I'm closing my eyes, you come over and I'm like, I'm in pain. It's just something that I do. It's almost like I'm going to a different level or something.
Yeah. Going to your happy place?
Right. I have to go somewhere else. This is too much.
Yeah, that's fair.
If I
Everybody
can
has
see
coping.
it, if I can see the tattoo happening, it's still better than closing my eyes. But when I'm at level 10, I'll like take chunks of eyes closed, take chunks of watching, because watching is still the best for me.
Yeah, me too.
Like and watching, I'm never not sitting there going, how far are we? Are we 10 minutes or 10 hours away?
Yeah.
When you're watching,
You
you're
just
like,
know.
You know where
"Okay,
you're at.
It feels like this. It's going to continue being fine, and we're there. We have all those lines left to do before we take that next break.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Well,
That was like when you were tattooing me, and it was just like, it's on the back of my calf. I have no idea where we are. And it's just one of those, like, you have a question mark on time.
Yep. And
It's
the
like-
whole time, your mind is just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Thinking
It's
about
like,
it.
do I need a half hour or do I need 4 hours?
I
or
don't
do
know,
need
man.
10 hours or
when I was getting my knee ditch done for the first time, like quite a long time ago, I got caught up in an article about Lord of the Rings characters' powers. Like it was like
'Kay.
the 25 strongest characters in the Lord of the Rings universe.
who's the first?
It's something I would never, I don't even remember, but it's something I would never read any other time.
Yeah.
Like I would
Something that's
never.
so interesting.
Well, it was just one of those, I'll get lost in this. And then before long, I'm not even noticing anything.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say earlier when I was talking about this, like all this ear crap, is I got my armpits both tattooed last week, right? Both of them, they're not finished yet. They both need a little bit more. But that should have been the central pain of my week.
Yeah.
And even when I was getting them tattooed, I wasn't even thinking about them. I was thinking about what's happening in my ear. Because it was already becoming a problem for me. And then as soon as I got out of here, I was barely feeling my armpits because I was so like preoccupied with fuck my ear. And then I ended up stretching up this one, and I stretched this one again because I had a jewelry order just arrive. At no point have I even been concerned with my armpits that got tattooed.
That's so wild.
been-
Because
Thinking about
I've been consumed by other things.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
power of distraction is amazing to
Yeah.
me.
And you're always moisturizing a tattoo, so you're probably used to like, oh, I'm gonna moisturize
Yeah.
here a couple times
Well,
a
I'm
day.
just it's
Not even
auto
a thought.
drive.
Yeah.
I didn't even worry about whoa, like when you get a new tattoo and you're like Some people overcare.
Yeah.
I'm basically not even paying attention to this.
I had a heartbreak similar to your ear this week too. Actually, I've been nurturing this tomato plant all summer and like putting a lot of love into it, pruning it, growing the fuck out of it. I've probably eaten 4 tomatoes off of it, and there's about 20 on it right now.
Yeah.
And I've been nurturing the shit out of it. It was perfect when I left for the weekend. Got too cold over the weekend. All the tomatoes remaining are ruined now.
I like
Utter heartbreak.
I like how you're equating this because it is like that.
It is. Yeah, of course it is.
And that's what people don't understand.
You've been on a journey with that thing, that part of your body, and now that journey through kind of like a small oversight of yours or through some tiny mismanagement, after all that work, effort, and love, it's now just fucked. And you're like, well, it's here. Okay.
And that's the thing is like
And you have to accept that. There's no going
don't
back.
Get that it is just like a hobby or a passion project.
Yeah.
Like, it's like anything else that you would do. Like if you're raising something or growing something or building something, it's the same thing. It's just, it sucks that no one gets to see, or not, it doesn't suck that no one gets to see your broken tomato plant. It's that this is immediately visible.
It's that same work of passion.
Yeah.
Mine's less permanently scarring.
Yeah,
Yours
it's
is
not on
literally
display
permanently
for the
scarring.
world to see.
That's right.
Right? And then it makes me a little sad that that became my passion project. That, not because I dislike what I'm doing, that it's so on display. Because even though I'm showing it off, I've been doing this stuff for longer than I've been on social media.
Yeah.
And so it's deeply personal for me. And I wish that that failure wasn't so on display for the world to see. And that's why I'm sensitive over it.
Because
it
you probably
touches
don't
me
see
deep.
you probably don't see it as a failure.
No.
You probably see it as at some point this is part of your journey.
It looks to the outward world like I fucked it up. Where to me it's kind of one of those. It's sad that this has happened, and I feel deeply hurt. It's
You're
like
wounded.
losing a child or something.
Sure.
Not to that level,
Yes.
but like it's
A degree of it.
It's one of my babies, you know. It's one of my little friends.
You know, little baby piercings.
I don't like saying goodbye to piercings, and that. So when I was taking this out, I was like, "All right, I'm stretching another one. I'm doing like I'm compensating now to make myself happy because fuck that.
Yeah.
Like I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm hurt.
You're wounded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
That's sad.
obvious.
Well, you know, I mean, sure. It's so, like, not that I can't respect that. It's just like, wow, that's so foreign to me. Because, like, I would. Piercings
It
terrify
takes
me.
a long time to get to a point like that, though, right? So like you have to first go, I'm gonna get an ear piercing, and then go, I like the way yours stretched look. Okay, so now I'm gonna stretch that.
So
Right?
this is like his tomato plant, but like 15 years of caring for that.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very long.
It's a very different scale than my 5-month tomato plant.
I first got my first piercing when I was 6 years old, because my dad got an earring. I wanted one too.
Naturally.
So then my stepdad and I got our ears pierced together. It was like his attempt at a bonding thing because I didn't like him much, and I think it was like he was, oh, I'll get it with him, you know. And then I ended up getting my other ear pierced, and I got my cartilage pierced when I was 8.
That's too
It was
soon.
just a cartilage piercing back then, and it was out of Claire's with a
I was
gun.
gonna say.
You didn't know that it was a helix. We didn't call them those names then. We called it
No.
a cartilage piercing,
Yeah.
right? So anyway,
Because they had no idea what they were doing.
yeah,
We just put this gun anywhere on the ear and go.
exactly.
Yeah,
For jewelry.
look at
No
that.
placement
Little.
about it. Just and it goes there. It looks good there. Go there.
God, they're crazy, man. That's a crazy.
they're still
thing.
doing that.
I know they're still doing it.
Before we run out of time, I do have one more thing I'm super stoked about.
Sure.
It's fun that it ties in through guns. I bought the sickest sniper rifle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I bought the most ultimate hunting weapon. I'm
What'd you
very
get?
excited about it.
Can't call it a weapon.
A 6.5 Creedmoor and a T3X.
Those are words.
Yep.
Yeah.
Numbers.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a
I don't have a mental image of
a
that.
high end
Hang on, say that
perfectly
again?
A Tikka Tikka.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
T3X.
Oh, there it is. And what else?
6.5 Creedmoor. 6.5.
Can I just make a side note?
Uh-huh.
You remind me a lot of Bernie Sanders right now.
Bernie
Left-wing
Sanders.
guy and all for gun rights.
Yeah. There's a time and a place, boys.
Hey, man, I was a Bernie guy. I liked Bernie.
Because
but
I support our system of gun safety.
Yeah.
We have a system of training that makes you want to be a safer, better person. Like, I'm going to be less likely to yell in traffic because I'm a gun owner. Because I know if something happens,
I can fuck that guy up.
No, because if something happens,
I got a big old gun.
when this guy tells the police that I have an anger issue, the police will come and take my guns away, and that is not something I'm okay with.
Fair.
So, we have a training system in place where, as a gun owner, I understand my responsibilities and the ramifications for misbehaving. Yeah. But moral of the story, I bought the sickest sniper rifle / hunting rifle, and I'm super stoked about it.
cool.
Yeah. And sighted in this weekend while we're camping for Thanksgiving.